The holidays are here. For many of us, that means family, tradition, and hours spent right here in the kitchen. We're about to enter the busiest cooking season of the year. But as we prepare to spend hours slow cooking roasts, simmering sauces, we need to talk about the invisible guests that we are inviting into our kitchen: air pollutants. The air pollution generated by gas stoves in households is largely invisible, unlike the smoke from coal or wood stoves. To understand the risks of these holiday marathons in the kitchen, we need to distinguish between mutagens and carcinogens. Mutagens cause permanent changes to your cell's DNA. Carcinogens, on the other hand, are agents with the potential to cause cancer and the tumors associated with it. When we cook with gas, especially for these long durations during the holidays, we're exposed to both of those. The combustion of natural gas releases specific carcinogens like benzene, nitrogen dioxide, and particulate matter. Perhaps most alarming of those is benzene. Research indicates that there is no safe lower limit. That means the longer you spend in the kitchen this season, the higher your dose of this potentially carcinogenic material there is to your system. I'm here in a commercial kitchen to look at the sources of these chemicals. We often think the danger only exists when the flame is on a high to sear a steak, but that is false. Studies have identified leakages from gas stoves even when they're completely off. These leakages release methane and benzene into your homes continuously. It's even going into this air right now. In fact, benzene has been found in the unburned gas itself. Think about that for your upcoming holiday party. Even when the cooking's done, if you have a gas stove, it is likely acting as a point source emitter of these chemicals during your dinner. This unburned gas poses a massive problem because our primary defense, ventilation hoods, are usually only turned on when we are actively cooking. Furthermore, in the environmental perspective, methane has a warming potential 86 times that of carbon dioxide. So these leaks are warming the planet while they poison your indoor air as well. A similar issue that you may experience as a customer while in a restaurant is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide inside of most places is a terrible irritant. Carbon dioxide is shown to be related to asthma and neurocognitive decreases, as well as many other cognitive decline and sleepiness and tiredness in general. When carbon dioxide is at an elevated level compared to our outdoor air, we ourselves are impacted by that. An air quality detector measuring carbon dioxide amounts in meters cubed found that inside, the quantity can be over 1,100 parts. Comparatively, outside, the carbon dioxide count is around 420 to 425. This has elevated as humans have created the Anthropocene, the human era of the world, and we have impacted directly our atmosphere's makeup and changed the quantity of carbon dioxide, methane, ozone, and so many other pollutants around us and in our air. Back in the home kitchen, I want to give you a specific warning for your holiday parties. We love to gather in the kitchen. It's a warm place, it smells good, and it's where the action is happening. But from a health perspective, you need to get you and your family out of this room. When all four burners are going for a big meal, this room can become a trap for nitrogen dioxide and formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is a known carcinogen produced during natural gas combustion. Incomplete combustion of natural gas releases this carcinogen directly into the air you are breathing while chatting with your guests. There is a direct link as well between asthma rates in children and exposure to nitrogen dioxide emissions. If you have nieces, nephews, or grandchildren visiting, keeping them in the kitchen while you cook is exposing them to a respiratory irritant. My advice: cook the food, but move the socializing to the living room. Don't let the kitchen be a hangout spot.
The next time you're at Chipotle, look at your choice of meat through the lens of chemistry. Take the steak, for example. To get the char you expect, it requires high heat. A 1995 study proved that as meat loses water and temperature rises, mutagenic compounds form. These are specifically heterocyclic amines. They occur when amino acids and creatine in the muscle react under high heat. The darker the char you see, the more mutagens rise into the air and are contained in the char. Next, we'll look at sofritas, which are braised in liquid, keeping the temperature low, and capped at the boiling point of water. The same study compared beef patties to soy patties. The results they found were stark. While beef generated airborne mutagens, the soy patties showed 0. This matters deeply for the workers. We know that cooks and bakers face higher risks of respiratory tract cancer. A shift searing steak means inhaling that particulate matter all day. Instead, scooping sofritas, well, the air is statistically cleaner. So while you might pick steak for flavor, the sofritas is undeniably the better choice for the air that we are breathing.
In a small survey of UT students, with 12 respondents, about 8 of them grew up in households with gas stoves. This means that all 8 of those people grew up exposed to benzene, formaldehyde, particulate matter, and other chemicals associated with it if their households themselves were not filled with other chemicals. However, over 82% of them didn't know what grade 1 carcinogens were, and they didn't know that they were being exposed to them in their households because of the gas stoves. This is in large part due to the propaganda of the gas industry and the oil industry that has propagated the lie that food tastes better with gas stoves cooking it. With a real flame, you have better texture, better char, better different things for the food. This is entirely false. Many professional grade kitchens in high-end restaurants now use induction cookware. This is a process that basically heats up the food through electromagnetic radiation, similar to how the sun heats up our Earth. What this process allows is for there to be no emissions, as well as a reduced amount of energy usage compared to electric stoves that many households do have. In a similar survey, many of those same people responded that they didn't know any carcinogens. This in itself is a separate health crisis. Without knowledge of carcinogens in our day-to-day life, there is no way to combat or prevent our own exposure. This means that we are still being exposed to carcinogens in our cosmetics, in their plastics like water bottles, as well as fast food containers and papers that might have PFAS chemicals on them. All of this is a problem, and all of this is contaminating our healthy systems and our environment as a whole. Microplastics themselves are ground up particulates of those same plastics that we use on a daily. They're ground up on our coasts, and then they enter our water as we are drinking it and as we are consuming the water from lakes and reservoirs. There is no place on Earth that is untouched by plastics. This means that there is no place on Earth untouched by the Anthropocene, the human era that has created all of these human-made synthetic chemicals that are poisoning us and our environment on the daily. When you're cooking in the kitchen this holiday season, make sure that you're turning on your vent hood and ensuring that you can hear that fan going. This fan is not only forcing you to move your conversation out of the kitchen, but also pulling as many of those carcinogens and mutagenic chemicals out of your air that you're breathing. This limits your exposure and also reduces the potential respiratory irritation for all of those in your life. As I mentioned in the home kitchen, a vent hood is of the utmost importance. The way that you protect yourself and your loved ones from the toxic fumes released from the planchas, the stovetops, the cooking oil, and so many other instruments within our kitchens when we are reliant on natural gas. The best way to do that and limit your exposure is to turn on your vent hood at all times. Here in an industrial kitchen, the vent hood is massive and it is loud. The vents themselves get cleaned regularly. This is important because those vents trap the oil and grease that is released from your food and the cooking oil. And they also limit the air and fumes that are coming back towards you. As I turned on this hood, the temperature drops. I can no longer smell any possible natural gas coming off the stovetop, and so much more is noticeably different about the space.
As you enjoy your holidays, Make sure to be conscious about the chemicals around you and the air that you are breathing, both indoor and outdoor. Also, a special thank you to my little sister, Lana, for the recording help.